should I wait to submit my taxes in 2024 because the child tax credit is a question that a lot of people are asking. And it is a good question with all that we're hearing on social media and on YouTube. It is really a question that a lot of people have. So the first thing is, who should not wait to file? I think we should get that out the way. So if you have no kids, file your tax return. This child tax credit thing has nothing to do with you. Now, a child is considered anyone under the age of 17 as of December 31st, 2023. So if your child was 16 in the beginning of the year and turned 17, you're not going to get this additional child tax credit. You're going to get a dependent credit. So if you have kids and they're over the age of 17, this does not apply to you. If you have no kids, this does not apply to you. Your child must have a social security number or tax ID number. So if you are a illegal alien, you came into this country and you had a child and you got the social security or tax ID number for the child in January of 2024, this does not apply for you. You'd have to have had the social security number or tax ID number in 2023. The next person is if your income is over the threshold. There's a threshold for the child tax credit. If you make more than $200,000 and you're single and head of household, go ahead and file. This child tax credit has nothing to do with you. If you're married and your income combined is $400,000 or more, go ahead and file. This has nothing to do with you. The child tax credit is not even applicable to you. And if you're getting the full child tax credit on your tax return already, and some of you are asking, how would I know? So what you would do is you would look at your tax return, and on line 19 of your tax return, it would say the child tax credit. You get $2,000 per child for any children under the age of 17. So if you have one child and you see the $2,000, you've already got it. This credit has nothing to do with you because it's about the refundable portion of it, not the credit itself. You could also look at the form 8, 11, 12, line 5 for it. So what if you have a child, the child is under the age of 16, and you looked at your line 19 and you realize, okay, I'm getting the additional child tax credit. What are you waiting for? That's the real question. What am I waiting for? And this is what's going on. So the old rule said that, hey, there is a refundable child tax credit of $1,600 per child. It doesn't increase for inflation. 2023 will be 1,600, 2024 it'll be 1,600, and 2025 will be 1,600. With the new rule, they're going to increase the refundable portion over a 3-year period. 2023 will be 1,800, 2024 will be 1,900, and by 2025 we'll get $2,000. So off bat, you'll get additional $200 per child. So that's one thing that you're waiting for. The old rule said there's a 15% of any income over 2,500. You can get the smaller of the 1,600 per child. The new rules is removing that income requirement and still giving you that child. So what does that mean is when we look at the child tax credit, what happens is they look at 3 things. They look at A, B, and C. You can get the lower of to get the additional child tax credit. So this client that we had is getting the additional child tax credit of A, $2,332. What they're talking about is just removing that, and you get the $3,200. So that's a big difference right there if they remove that requirement. Another thing that they're doing is removing the work requirement. So right now with the old rules, you have to work. You have to do some form of work to get this money. It's not a full-blown welfare. Where with the new rules, there's no work requirement at all. And if you think about it, when we talked about the immigrants or someone that's come over as an immigrant and hasn't worked at all, but they have a child that was born in this country or have a social security number or a tax ID number, they can get that. Or you have the ability to look back at older years if you had additional income, if you don't have income now. So what this means is right now there is a step that they do. They take your earned income of $23,000 for this example. They take and they subtract it by 2,500 and they multiply it by 15%. So in this case, this person got the lower of them all, which is 3,174 as the additional child tax credit. With the new laws, they would get basically $375 more because we removed that $2,500 wage limit. So that's big important. And then last but not least, these new rules, the minimum benefit that we're talking about is $200 at top. The maximum benefit, it depends on the person's income. So I know what I'm saying, like, why is the law not pass it? They were supposed to pass it, but why has it not passed yet? The reason is the government is arguing about, hey, listen, if we're going to give this money out, let's change something else. And one thing they want to change is the state and local tax deduction. Right now, your state and local tax are capped at $10,000. So if I have a property tax of 15 and I have payroll taxes I pay to the state of New Jersey of another 15,000, my $20,000, I don't get that as a deduction. I would only get $10,000. I'm limited to it. And if you look at these states that are affected by it, you see that there's states like New York, New Jersey, California, places where they have high property taxes. So what's going on now is the government's having an argument about, well, if we're going to give people money for child tax credit, let's give people who don't have kids or high net worth individuals some more money also. In addition to that, they're arguing this is welfare, which it kind of is because this is not a reduction of tax. This is giving people additional income. So it is kind of a welfare benefit, and a lot of the Democrats and Republicans are arguing about that right now. So where's all this money coming from? Because I don't know how they get in billions and billions of dollars, but they realized that the IRS was paying and taking away a failed program. There was a program called the ERTC, which was giving around $26,000 per employee for people who were employing people through the pandemic. The program was projected to cost about $80 billion, but due to fraud, it was like $230 billion. So what did the IRS do? They said, no, I'm going to halt this. They stopped that pandemic credit because they tied it to too much fraud. And what they realized is that the money was going to the third-party companies that were filing it. So of that 230 billion, only 77 billion was going to taxpayers and companies. 153 billion were going to the third parties that were taking care of this matter. So the IRS said, okay, if we're going to do this, we're going to remove this out. I'm so glad that the IRS has given us guidance and they have said, listen, do not wait to file. File your return now. And I'm so glad because the pressure was just bubbling up on me. And what they're saying is that, hey, listen, we're going to do what we did in prior years. And we're like we did in the unemployment when the IRS said, or the government was making up their mind about unemployment in 2020 tax returns. The IRS did the corrections for us. They're going to do the automatic corrections. So no one needs to wait to file. People who don't have kids don't need to wait. And people who do have kids do not need to wait. So let's file our tax returns. And I'm really happy that this is going on because people don't need to wait on this. This is a great move by the IRS. I thank you so much for watching the video. And I hope that you file your returns and we get everything going. And we're really going to keep a close eye on this and see what's going to happen. Hopefully when Congress makes a decision about this, we'll get those additional monies. And I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you for watching. This is Carlos Faison from Tactical Tips. Have a great day.